Hi, I'm Matt Lieberman. If you are a regular viewer of this program, you've noticed that we've started incorporating more comedy into the loop as of late, but this week there's nothing to joke about. It's hard to know where to start. It's been an incredibly emotional week here in the United States, following the shooting deaths of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile at the hands of police, and the 5 shooting deaths of uniformed police officers in Dallas, Texas. The cycle of ongoing outrage and violence between citizens and police is devastating. It's exhausting. When someone is killed by police, or for the simple fact that they are police, we are all let down. Every one of us. It should be noted that Alton Sterling and Philando Castile are only 2 out of 18 people killed by police in the last 7 days. They're 2 people out of 509 people killed by police in 2016 alone. 2 people out of 1,499 people killed by police since the beginning of 2015. You can't argue that we don't have a problem. At the same time, 183 people have laid down their lives in the line of duty as police officers during that same period. Not all of them were deliberately targeted and attacked the same way that those in Dallas were, but none of these deaths, not the civilians, not the cops, were warranted. None of these people were committing a crime. None of these people deserve to die. So for today, let's try to look at these killings and our feelings and prejudices towards our police force and towards each other with fresh eyes. This is The Loop. First, let's talk about Alton Sterling. He was 37 years old, father of 5, a resident of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and was selling CDs outside of a local convenience store early Wednesday morning when he was approached and ultimately killed by police officers Blaine Salamone and Howie Lake. He had sold CDs outside of that convenience store for years, according to the owner, Abdullah Maflahi. Officers Salamone and Lake responded to an anonymous tip that a man matching Sterling's description had threatened someone with a gun, a story that the store's owner Maflahi contests. He says that Sterling was indeed armed, but that he never threatened anyone. Details about how the incident began are still being clarified, but video taken by witnesses of the incident shows the officers shoving and tackling Sterling to the ground. He isn't being violent in response, and the officers have him firmly under control. One of the officers then yells, "He's got a gun." According to witnesses, Sterling never touched his gun, and his hands were nowhere near his right pants pocket where the gun allegedly was. Sterling was allowed to openly carry his gun, which he obtained legally under Louisiana's open carry laws. However, it led to his death, even though he wasn't committing a crime. In a press conference, Sterling's wife pleaded with the media to stop posting the videos of his death, so we won't include the video here, but it is devastating. Meanwhile, just hours later in the Falcon Heights neighborhood of Minnesota, police officers pulled over Philando Castile, his girlfriend Diamond Reynolds, and her young daughter for a busted taillight. Castile was instructed to give the officer his license and registration. Castile let the officer know that he did have a gun in the glove compartment where his wallet also was. He was licensed to own and carry a firearm. Despite the warning to the officer, when Castile reached into the glove compartment for his wallet, the officer shot him 4 times. Reynolds then began broadcasting the incident via Facebook, where she explains as calmly as she can what is going on. Viewers can see Castile die of his injuries behind her, while the officer, who is clearly disturbed by what happened, keeps his gun trained on the inside of her car. In Dallas Thursday night, supporters of the Black Lives Matter movement gathered for what was to be a peaceful protest through the streets of downtown. However, a lone gunman, perched on the 2nd floor of a parking garage, broke that peace with a vicious barrage of shots that left 5 police officers dead and 7 others wounded. At first, police believed that this was a coordinated attack by multiple shooters, but that ultimately turned out to not be the case. The shooter, Micah Johnson, claimed that he had planted explosives all over downtown, but that was not ultimately true. The hours-long firefight concluded when police sent a robot loaded with explosives into the garage to kill the shooter. Throughout the ordeal, the shooter was in communication with a hostage negotiator. He said that the attack was motivated by the deaths of Sterling and Castile, and that he wanted to murder white cops. Only 2 of the victims' names have been released as of this writing, Brent Thompson and Patrick Zamarripa. Before police identified the shooter, they mistakenly accused this man of being involved. The man, who's since been identified and cleared of all charges, was a peaceful member of the evening's protest and was carrying an unloaded semi-automatic rifle because that is his right as a Texan. He handed his rifle over to police during the chaos and surrendered himself to authorities when he discovered that they'd tweeted out his photo as a person of interest. If it isn't abundantly clear at this point, I've been deliberately steering clear of the subject of race in these incidents. Sadly, it's this topic that often causes us to stop listening to each other and start shouting at each other. You know, this is actually the second time I've shot the loop this week. Yesterday, I recorded a version that detailed statistically the vast disparities that target Black Americans over white Americans. And I still feel that this information is important and worth talking about. But right now, today, after seeing how anger can be perverted and turned into more violence, I don't feel right continuing to fan the flame. And I know that there's a lot of anger out there. I will say this, though. The first step towards prevention of further tragedies is to admit that there is a problem everywhere. It's not 1, 2, 3, or even 4-sided. I know that I am guilty of the crime of saying, this is the thing we need to do. Or this is the thing we need to focus on. This is the way that we need to stop something. Blank, I don't care. It's arrogant. I'm guilty of it too. I've had to read a lot this week, a lot of things that upset me, that are true about our society, things that are unfair, and that we have a right to be upset about. But there's a difference between upset and unrest. I'll also say that to sit behind a screen and like someone's posts, or to retweet memes, or to debate what hashtag we should use to articulate our disappointment will not produce the brighter future that we crave. Peaceful action, education, and understanding are required. The first step is for us to all stop talking at each other and listen. Listen to each other with a more open mind than we had yesterday. If you want to talk to me, I would love to listen. I just hope that we can all listen a little bit more. Thank you for watching. Hopefully next week we'll be able to make a few more jokes. I'm Matt Lieberman, and until next time, you're in the loop. Thanks for watching. Many people were fooled into voting for the measure by Nigel Farage, the UKIP leader who led a nationwide...
Because you played Galaxy, right?
Yeah, she's the Galaxy giant.